Good morning. My name is Karen Kong, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And welcome to my Crafting to Go series for the month of June. It is June, yes. I'm using the Woodland Wishes this month, and this is the card I will be making with you today. I am pulling out some retired stuff to combine with the new stuff, and that's the way I roll because I love to use all my stuff in my stash. I mean, there's so much to love in what you have already. So that's what I am focusing on today. Um, we're going to be doing some blending, some embossing, and yeah, it'll be an easy card. Let me just get my computer set up so that I can see your comments when we are crafting. And please say hi if you're joining live or even on replay. I like to have somebody to talk to, conversation, because I am terrible at talking to myself, and it's nowhere near as much fun either. Um, just getting my computer up and running. All right, my computer's up and running. Let's get the phone mounted over my desk so that you can see what we're doing today. So just close your eyes and let me move the camera. There we go. All right, so as I said, this is the Woodland Wishes set. This is an online exclusive that's coming out early July. I forget which day, but the first week of July should be out. And it is a Christmas stamp set, but it's just so cute. I'm sure you could use like the animals for birthday cards or to pair with other animals in other stamp sets that you have. But yeah, it's a really cute set, and this is what I've done with it this week. I've pulled out DSP from ages and ages ago. Oh my gosh, what I forgot to take out the package, take a look at the name again. Heartwarming Hugs. That's the one that it came from. And of course, you know, you can just switch it out for something in your own stash, but it's the Heartwarming Hugs that I pulled out this DSP from. This stamp, the stamp is from this set. Okay, May your Christmas be merry and bright. Good morning, Tara. And this tag is a die from the Brightest Glow set. Okay, so I like the tag die in that one. I'm also using the Snowflake Sky embossing folder, and the Snowflake frame is from oh my gosh, I can't speak this morning. It's the Snowman Magic set. So I pulled together a whole bunch of retired stuff to put together this card. So let's make some room. I'm going to do some stamping and coloring first, and then we'll assemble the card afterwards. Yeah, I don't seem to be able to speak this morning, but, you know, things have been going awry, and, you know, I haven't finished my coffee yet. Okay, and the dishwasher seems to have stopped working. I don't know what's going on. I thought that something had gotten stuck last night, so I reran it, and this morning I found that all the dishes are still dirty, and it looks like all the food is just baked on. So now I'm thinking we were troubleshooting this morning and trying to figure out what's going on. Good morning, Sandra. But it doesn't seem like there's water coming out. So that's a major problem. So that's another thing to take care of later. Okay, so I'm just going to center this. I think that's how I had it set up for the first one. And let me just double check that I put this, because I know this has to be far enough down on my sheet so that it can be framed by, yeah, this is correct. Okay. Yeah, so the dishwasher, yes, that's a problem. So we were troubleshooting that this morning. So yes, lots of things going on. Life. But let's do some stamping and forget about it. It is a wet and rainy day outside, and it's a nice day to just hang out inside and stamp. I'm just going to move this over just a tiny bit. Okay, so let's do some stamping. I'm going to pull out the new basic black in the hybrid. I've been using this on and off, and oh, got some ink on my fingers, just a second. And I don't know if I love it yet or not. I think it probably works best when you're using blends markers, which is why I pulled it out this morning, so that it's supposed to be more resistant to bleeding and such. So that's why I'm using it today. So let's ink this up well. We'll stamp that. For those of you who don't recognize this tool, this is a stamp apparatus. It allows you to restamp. See, this is too light for me, so I'm going to restamp it. It will restamp in the same spot. And for those of you who have trouble stamping with a block, this will alleviate that difficulty. If you have trouble putting the stamp on the paper straight up and down, or if you roll by accident, this stamp tool is great. And unfortunately, it's discontinued by Stamparatus, but there is a new tool out, which I don't have. So that is available for you. You can take a look at the Stampin' Up! Website. Okay, I think I want my owl just a little bit darker. And that's the beauty. When I'm using large stamps, I do like to use a stamp positioner, some kind of stamp positioner tool, because then situations like this, I can restamp. Okay, so I think it must have moved a millimeter, or I could have pressed a little bit harder, but the lines are thicker now, but it's still okay. All right, so let's go ahead with that. I'll just move this aside. I should clean the stamp so that it doesn't ink everything, or I don't accidentally touch it and get ink on my fingers. All right, let's move that out of the way. And we'll do some coloring. Let's bring in the card so you guys can see it. So if you notice in the background, I did the embossing on the image itself, because I felt like when I was done this card initially and I didn't have the embossing, it looked really bare, like there was too much white space here that I felt was just too much. So I embossed it. I took the Snowflake 3D embossing folder and I embossed this image, and I think it looks better. So let's do a little bit of coloring. I'm using Real Red and Mossy Meadow, Soft Suede, and Daffodil Delight today. I will put all the measurements in my video description after the live is done, so don't worry about writing everything down. You can enjoy and then refer back to the video description to get details to make this card yourself with your own stash. So the color combination actually came from the Heartwarming Hugs DSP. I just picked from there the colors that I wanted, and it just makes it really easy to choose your colors that way, because sometimes you get, whoops, paralyzed with indecision, right? I forgot this, I don't know if this has happened to anybody else, but for some reason this particular marker, it doesn't happen with any of my other markers. It comes apart, and now I can't. Here we go. This is real life crafting. Reality crafting, as I like to call it. Oh, I see why it's coming apart. It's cracked here. Let me see if I can get the cap off. There we go. All right, now we can do our coloring. Yeah, reality crafting, because, you know, things have to go wrong when I'm live, or I'll get phone calls. That's real life. Okay, so this is the dark Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use the light Mossy Meadow for the contrasting color in a second. Good morning, Shali. Yeah, Tara, I think I may have to maybe duct tape or tape that crack to make sure it holds together so it doesn't come apart on me again. Okay. I think I'll just use the light Mossy Meadow for my leaves. And I think I used it here as well in my ornament. So when I choose my color scheme, I try to stick to it as closely as possible. I find that it gives a more cohesive look to the whole thing, because the first time I colored this in, I just kind of went with any color that I thought would look good, and it just doesn't feel as cohesive when I do that. So when I stick to the ones that I chose from the DSP, or just 3-4 colors, then it works out better. Which means you get green owls sometimes. And in the end, I think it actually looks good. Okay, this is a light soft suede for the deer. You can add shading with the light and the dark blends, but today, for this card, I actually like it just to be flat. Like, I don't want the shading, but that's just a personal preference. Okay, and then dark. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put light soft suede here on his snout, and then I'll use dark suede for the body. I always say a rainy day is a perfect day for crafting because I don't feel guilty about not going outside, but I forgot that today I'm actually starting a pickleball, a new pickleball. I don't know, it's not really a league, it's just an opportunity to play and practice. But I've never been there before, and it's going to be a new experience. So, unfortunately, it is indoors. It's not going to be outdoors, thank goodness, or it would have been canceled. But I do have to go out. But it's so nice to be spending a quiet morning coloring. Okay. All right. Let me just see. Oh, I need a little bit more red in my ornament here. And I'm going to make my squirrel red as well. And that's what I mean about sticking to a color scheme, is that I'm not going to pull out a different color for the squirrel. I didn't want him to be brown too. I wanted a little bit more color at the bottom of my card. So I decided to stick with the red. And I'm going to leave his tummy white. Oh, there's one more ornament. I don't think this one's actually visible. It'll be underneath the frame, but I'm just going to color it red. And there is a present. So let's make this a red ribbon and a green present. And I'm coloring in the pine cone. Oh. Okay, and then I used yellow, the Daffodil Delight, to fill in my stars. I'm going to turn this around, use this, and because I didn't want to bring in any more colors, I did not choose to color in the birds or the bunny. I decided to leave them white. I think that's okay. I think I've got everything. Okay, I think that's fully colored in. All right. So now I'm going to emboss this piece. Let's bring in my cut and emboss machine. And apologies if the camera starts wobbling a little bit because it is mounted on my desk. I'm looking for my embossing folder. Oh, here it is. So I want the heaviest snow to be at the top. So I'm going to turn my embossing folder around because the lightest snow is down here. And this time I think I'll try not to get the snowflake right in the middle of their body, but it's kind of hard because there's snowflakes everywhere. Okay, let's just put it here. And we'll hope for the best. Let's see. Ah, that works out. Okay, let's put this through. All right. So you see how that adds dimension to your image, right? It's very subtle, but it's not just plain white anymore. So, all right. Since I've got this out here, I'm going to die cut the piece that I need, the tag that I need to stamp. Just gonna grab a piece of white scrap. Let's see. And here's the die. Oh, let me just double check that that is the right length. Okay, so I did actually cut this down. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have to stamp first. And then we'll die cut, and I'll show you how to cut it, shorten the tag so that it fits your sentiment. Okay, so I stamped in Mossy Meadow. And where is, I have to pull out the stamp. And we'll pick it up with the block. That'll make sure that it's as straight as it can be without twisting the, actually I'll get a longer one. Here we go. Without twisting the stamp so that it'll be nice and straight, right? Okay, and let's ink this up. There we go. And we'll bring back the cut and emboss machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut from one side and then we'll cut from the other side. So we'll cut up to a point where it's at the end of the sentiment. So I'm going to lay this out. Okay. I'm trying not to move it. And I'm just going to place the plate. Oops. So that it doesn't cover the entire thing, because I don't actually want to reach the end here. I want to stop cutting at around this word here, right? The very beginning here. And I'll have a little bit of extra room to turn it around and trim off this part. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. So let's do this first. Yes, I try to avoid using tape for my particular machine because it's wound very tight, and I find that if I put tape here, it will make a mark. It'll emboss the edge of the tape right onto whatever I'm cutting, so I avoid doing that for mine. But I've seen lots of other demonstrators who can put that down and they don't have an issue with it. So it just depends on your machine. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm lifting up my die, I'm moving it over, I turned it around, I'm moving it over. I'm just going to line up the die right back into the grooves. I'll use the grooves to help me line it up so that I know it's straight and that it's lying on top of the original cut marks. And I'm just going to move it over so that it will cut off my, create a tag that's like exactly to the size that I need. Okay, so you see like it's shorter by maybe a ½ inch. Okay, so again, I'm going to place the plate so that it does not reach the end here. It won't cause this end of the die to cut through the paper because we're not going to put the plate over that section. Okay, so I'm only putting the plate over this section, which has already been cut, and I know it's sitting right into the grooves, and that's the way I would know that it'll make the same cuts again, and it won't look funny. So there you go. That's how you shorten your tag so that it fits exactly. See? There we go. Poke out those little holes here. There we go. All right. Let's get this out of the way, and then we can assemble. I already went ahead and I die cut the snowflake frame because that requires a lot of poking out of the little pieces in there. And actually, just so you know, this is actually 2 snowflake frames glued together to give it a little bit more height. I thought about putting on a third, but I thought that 2 is fine. Okay, I have a half sheet of real red paper, 8.5 by 11 cut in half. Okay, I'm going to need to score that. And I have the DSP, which I need to cut down to size, which is the full front of this. It goes right to the edge. So it is 5.5 by 4.25, I believe. So let's cut that, get that ready. Okay, so let's score this at the halfway point, 4.25 inches. And I'm pretty sure this is the right width already. Let's just double check. This is just over 4.25. I'm just going to compare it to my card front to make sure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to trim it down just, yeah, it looks like it's just a little bit over. So I'm just going to trim it down just a little bit. So that is 4.25. And then 5.5 this way. All right, let's put this together. So let's furnish this fold. Thanks, Tara. It just takes a little bit of practice cutting the tags short. But like I said, you just line up. You can feel when the die lines up into the holes, the original cut lines and the original holes. And it just kind of falls in, and it will not move easily if you try to like push it. So then you'll know it's in the right spot. So it's not too hard to do. Okay, so this goes on the full front and it fits exactly, so I don't need to trim it anymore. I'm gonna put some glue on the back. I like to put glue just a little ways away from the edge so it doesn't squish out. And I also avoid putting it in the center because that allows me to pick it up by sticking my finger in it and then holding it like that. Okay, I am lining things up at a 45-degree angle before I actually commit to putting it down, and that gives me a little bit of time to like make sure that everything is lined up straight. Okay, so this I'm going to bring in my silicone mat. And what I'm going to do, so this edge you can see is hanging out a little bit because they're a slightly different size, but it doesn't matter because I know I am going to cover this with my sentiment here. Although this one seems to be cut very slightly shorter than my original, but there will be ribbon, so I don't think I'm going to worry about it. So now I'm going to adhere this snowflake frame right on top here to the stamped image. Okay. In this case, I am going to have to, let me just see. Yeah, this is the right way. See, if you see, the snowflakes just happen to line up so that you can see the star. If you put it the other way, this works as well, but it covers up more of your bunny. So you can decide which way you want it to go. I kind of like having the snowflake detail at the top here. So that's how I'm going to position it. So I'm going to flip it over so that when I pick it up with my tweezers afterward, that I can just easily put it on top of here. Okay, so right now I'm going to just add some dots of glue. That's why I did the die cutting, and I joined the 2 pieces ahead of time because I knew that this part takes a little bit longer and that maybe you wouldn't want to see me do this twice, because I do like to put dots all along the tips of the, not all the tips, but the biggest tips of the snowflakes, because that helps keep them down on the page, right, instead of lifting up. So I'm making sure to put a little dot of glue on all the places that stick out. Because it's hard to get the glue underneath once you have it down and you notice that something is not laying properly. It's a little bit tricky trying to get a dot of glue underneath there, so I try to get most of it before I put it down. Yes, that would introduce a new color, and it boils down to preference, but I think for myself, I like how it, how the palette is just cohesive, more cohesive when you stick to just a few colors. Oh, I can hear the rain is coming down outside. Hopefully everybody is staying indoors or made it to work okay without getting soaked. Almost done, guys. Hang in there with me. Okay, just need to do the edges now. All right. Oh, yes. Wink of Stella. I like that idea. All right, so I'm gonna flip this over. That's why that's when I place it down. I flipped it that way so that when I pick it up with my tweezers, it's easy to have it in the right position for adhering to my picture. Okay, just making sure the edges line up, and then I'm just pressing it all down. So you see how the two layers of snowflakes give it a little bit extra dimension. You see that? Okay. So, I believe I put this up on dimensionals. Yes, I did. So let's get some dimensionals on the back of this. Oh, I have edges here. I'm going to use up the edges here. Never throw away the extra dimensional edges. They are super handy for situations like these where you want to have full edges with sides supported, right? Because I'm putting the whole thing up on dimensionals. Yeah, I just tear these apart. I don't, it doesn't matter to me because I know they're going to be hidden. Unless I needed a particular sized Terra, I just tear them because it's so easy to do. And you know, if I were to have like guessed how I was going to do it before starting crafting, I probably would have said I cut things, but no, it's actually just very easy and quick to just tear them off. Okay. So I'm going to put this not quite center because I know this is going to be coming down a little bit, so I'm going to leave a little bit of extra room at the bottom for adhering that sentiment on. Okay, and I have red satin ribbon, real red, so I just want it to be long enough to put my behind my sentiment. So I'm going to put some tear and tape behind there. I'm just going to tear off approximately how much I need. Okay, and actually I do want to make that go straight to the end because it was bothering me that this was loose last time. I did the exact same thing. I cut it a little bit too short, and I just found that I wanted to have it adhered right to the end so that the ribbon stayed put. Okay. So I haven't cut my ribbon because I want to make it exact. I don't want to waste any of it. And this is the way I do it because I just find it's more efficient. Okay, so I'm going to take my ribbon. Right. Okay, does that look good? Yeah, that looks good. And now that I know how long I need it, I'm just going to cut it right now. And there'll be no waste. And no measuring either. Right? So easy to do this way. Okay, so now I am just going to take what did I use? Oh, you know what? I might have put nope. I did not put more dimensionals on. I am just going to use some more tear and tape. And because I know it's going to be overhanging the edge a little bit, I'm going to position my tear and tape on the top side of my label. Right, because it's hanging over just a little bit on the bottom. Okay, so the last thing I did was I wanted some sparkle, and I think the iridescent gems really do it for me here. They're more visible, and plus they have a little bit of gold, which I think picks up the yellow. I do love Wink of Stella, and I always forget to use it, and for some reason, I don't know if I would use it on this one. I guess I could make all the animals sparkly if I really wanted to. But I think I'm just going to leave the sparkling in the gems. But thank you for reminding me, Sandra, because I really don't use the Wink of Stella often enough. Okay, so I'm putting them right in the center of these snowflakes. Oh yeah, maybe the snowflake frame. Although that's a silver sparkle. I don't know. It's a very subtle difference, but I have gold sparkle here now, so I think I'm going to leave that as is. So yeah, these are all subtle touches. I have just a bit of ribbon, which is just a subtle touch, and the gold sparkle in the iridescent. So that's the card today. Pretty easy, just, you know, coloring, and I did do the die cutting ahead of time, but that wasn't too difficult. It was just, you know, time consuming, so I didn't want to spend a lot of time on screen doing that. But yeah, that is the card today with the, oh yeah, the Golden Glow Shimmer pen. I have not got that. That would be an interesting alternative. Oh, I could have used it for the birds, actually. That would be a great way to finish off those birds. Okay, so that's today's card. I hope that inspires you. Use your stash, use what you have, and have a great week crafting and a nice day. See you later, guys. Bye.